2001, Hannibal was finally released. It was 10 years since The Silence of the Lambs came out to raving reviews, 5 Academy Awards, and marked as a landmark for cinemas all over the place. The teasers were many for a new Hannibal movie in the years following, but they ran into problems after problem. It was pretty simple. Jodie Foster decided she was not going to do it, Jonathan Demme left, and then even Anthony Hopkins at a couple of points did question whether or not he should return or not. Ridley Scott stepped in, and they were able to release a movie to not thunderous applause, but to polite clappings, I would say. But it was an amazing success at the box office. And though one can argue that this is just a big dumb cash-in on the popularity of Silence of the Lambs, I would argue, and I will try to explain, why I think this is the best movie that has ever been made about Hannibal the Cannibal. I will probably be unsuccessful in doing so, but I'm gonna give it a damn try. So it has been 10 years since Hannibal disappeared, killed and probably ate Dr. Chilton, and he also, oh my god, my hair, he stole my hair. One of these acts are more heinous than the other, but fear not. We're going to go through this together and take a look at one of my low-key favorite movies of the early 2000s. The movie is Hannibal. Mason Verger, a wheelchair-bound, disfigured child rapist played by Gary Oldman, who has no billing in this movie. It took me actually 4 years to figure out that it was him behind all that makeup. He was one of the Hannibal Lecter's victims, one of the ones who survived. Now, he was never punished for the child rapist things that he has committed, even though some would say that his condition is a sort of punishment in on its own, but never mind about that. He has a plan. He's going to try to find Hannibal Lecter and take revenge for what happened to him. Hannibal Lecter is, as we know, lost to the world. But he has an idea. The idea is Clarice Starling. Clarice Starling is in bad odor with the FBI since a drug bust gone horribly bad, and when new clues about Hannibal's whereabouts is revealed, she begrudgingly accepts and tries to find Hannibal herself, because she is, as he says, going to craft my doom. Hannibal is hiding, doing a simple jobs in Florence, where we are at the moment, and he's recognized by a cop who is investigating another case. This guy that you may remember from Casino Royale, and he thinks that he wants to capture Hannibal for the reward and stuff like that, and because he kind of is upset that Hannibal has been hiding in his city. And now this bizarre baroque grand opera cannibal movie can begin. The first thing that needs to be said about this one is that this movie is bonkers. The movie is a grand, bizarre, and almost like a burlesque carny show. It is just blown out of all proportions because it is in the very, very, very capable hands of Ridley Scott, one of my favorite directors of all time. Scott is so good at his job that I don't think Fincher could have done this. Fincher was scheduled to direct this one, but ultimately didn't. But Scott just got this big spectacle of things. 100 different shooting locations, an amazing cinematography, great score, and the very haunting opera sounds and the setups and everything. It works gangbusters. Now, if you are one of the people who wants to have psychological chasing after serial killers or stuff like that, forget about that in here. This is pure nonsense from start to finish. But it works. In some bizarre way, this movie works to almost 100%. Maybe because everybody seems to be enjoying themselves so much. It usually happens when Dino De Laurentiis is at the producer's chairs, I have heard. I mean, Ray Liotta is great as the sleazy cop, and I think Julianne Moore, in fact, is a better Clarice Starling than Jodie Foster. I know that is not what you want to hear, and I know that you feel uncomfortable about hearing that, but hear me out. I never really liked Jodie Foster's Clarice Starling as a character in the original movie. For some reasons, I didn't find her that interesting. Julianne Moore is an equally great actress as Jodie Foster, but in this case she has such a more interesting character because she's now an actual FBI agent, and even though that she is about a regular FBI agent for about 10 minutes or something like that before she's relegated to being a part of this wacky show that we're about to undertake. And then we have the 600-pound gorilla in the room, everyone's favorite cannibal, Hannibal Lecter. Anthony Hopkins really feels like he's having the time of his life, just being out in the free world doing whatever he wants to, slicing people up and eating stuff, I suppose. I love the fact that this movie is so unpredictable, unless you've read the novel, I guess, because then you know what happens even though they changed the ending, and because the ending was even more bizarre than this movie, I kind of like that, even though I'm not a big fan of the ending. This movie is not as violent as a lot of people seems to think or remember. There were articles about all the violent and gruesome stuff in the papers months before this movie was released, and then when I saw it, I think, no, it was brutal. It was pretty violent, but not that violent. And the violence is just so... It has such a grand, epic scope about it that it doesn't feel nasty at all, actually. Maybe that is the reason why people dislike this movie and really love Silence of the Lambs. I don't know. But whether or not you should see this one is a bit up for debate. I've seen this movie dozens of times, and I find small little new details every time, and because the movie isn't really a thriller, and there isn't really that much suspense in this movie. It's just this big, grand, silly spectacle that you're about to see, and I love that. I can see this movie over and over and over again, and I never get bored of it anytime. But they were 1 year late with the evildoers feeding people to the pigs. Because Snatch did it 1 year earlier. Feed them to the pigs, Earl. This is a really big movie. It has big sweeping cinematography and big music, and everything feels like a big grand spectacle, and I love this. I'm giving this movie 85 points. The fantastic music, the great locations, the vastness of the cast, and all the very colorful characters that shows up that you're never expecting to show up. And how unexpected it is. This is a great favorite of mine. So are you the very small minority who thinks that this movie is better than The Silence of the Lambs? I'm very curious, because everybody seems to think that I am wrong about this one, but that's nothing new. And no, I'm not gonna jump into the Arno for my final shot. I'm just gonna jump off this thing here. So I'll see you next time from Well So and So reviewing Well Such and Such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. So, nice piggy, don't eat me.